round 3 of 3, and I got another ranking video for you guys. Been a while since I did this, but I decided to do an Expendables ranking. So, without further ado, there are 4 entries in this series from 2010 to 2023. Big old gap, but other things happened with Lionsgate apparently, so you didn't get all these movies back to back to back to back. So, without making this video way too long, and I guarantee it's not going to be that long because I just literally talked about Expendables 4. Let's go ahead and get this thing started with number 4, Expendables 4. And nothing much to say here. You'll already see my full review on Expendables 4 before this video, so this one was a mess. 95% of it looked fake, and the villain just wasn't all that interesting. And this is probably like the weakest ensemble cast of the Expendables by far. So, the Expendables are pretty much on a ship during half of this movie, and Jason Statham is like a one-man army trying to save them, but they all come back and help him, and Barney has a fake death. So, yeah. Tony Jaa was your secondary villain, and Hank Azaria was your main villain in Marsh. So, this movie wasn't an unholy abomination. I mean, I'll watch it here and there, but not as much as the actual trilogy. So, number 4, unfortunately, is Expendables 4. And at number 3, and this is probably going to shock all you guys, number 3 is going to be Expendables 2. Now, hear me out. I do like the villain a lot more in here than 4, and that's Jean-Claude Van Damme. But this movie turned out to be a little less interesting than I remember it to be, because Jean-Claude Van Damme is in the field of illegal plutonium mining in Europe. So the Expendables come in and try and get back all of the workers of the mine to their families. You had the likes of Chuck Norris in here. You had the likes of Liam Hemsworth. Yeah. So those are like your 2 new additions. But I wanted more of Chuck Norris in here. He claimed to be like a lone wolf, but I really do like the final climax in here where it takes place in an airport. That's a really kick-ass climax, and I really enjoyed the banter between Chuck Norris, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Bruce Willis, just ripping on all of their franchises, where Arnold Schwarzenegger says, "I'll be back," and then Bruce Willis just automatically says, "You've been back enough," and then he goes back, Arnold Schwarzenegger goes back and says, "Yippee-ki-yay," and then Bruce Willis says, "What's next, Rambo?" that just put a big smile on my face because I love action and I knew exactly what they were all talking about. It was awesome. But this movie was fine. It just wasn't as good as I remember. That was Expendables 2. And at number 2 is going to be what everybody thinks is the worst Expendables, because this particular one was sanitized to be PG-13. Turns out, number 2 for me, in my opinion, is Expendables 3. And Mel Gibson is the villain in here, and he is probably the most interesting of all of the 4 villains in here, because he used to be an expendable himself, but he betrayed Barney, and Barney realizes that he's still alive and he has to bring him down with the help of a new squad of 20-somethings. And this new squad includes Ronda Rousey, you have Randy Ortiz, you even have Antonio Banderas in here, and you have Glenn Powell, before he was Hangman in Top Gun Maverick. And I didn't know that because I didn't even recognize the dude, but when I saw his name, I knew who that was. So I rewatched this last Thursday, preparing for the 4th one, and I do have to say, I really enjoyed this one a lot more than I remember. I mean, yeah, it does get a little bit repetitive and cliche near the end, because Sylvester Stallone and Mel Gibson go mano-y-mano. They don't have like any other guns or knives. They just like go into like a fist fight. This fist fight is probably the most memorable, and I just love Mel Gibson in here as the villain. Easily the best villain of the whole franchise. So that's my number 2 pick, The Expendables 3. Which leaves number 1, and that is going to be the original Expendables. And this is one of my favorite action movies of all time. It's got the best ensemble cast of all 4. And you have the likes of Mickey Rourke in here. You have Eric Roberts. You have Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dolph Lundgren, Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone, Jet Li, just a whole dream team of action stars in here. And this has always been the most interesting story of all 4. And this takes the team to South America, and they have to like stop this general and this terrorist from running drugs in this part of the world. So they go in to South America, and they exact bloody vengeance. This movie is what it needs to be, and it's just a fun movie to watch endlessly. I can put this on now, but yeah. That's my number 1 pick, The Expendables. See? Short and sweet. Those are my thoughts on all 4 Expendables movies. and I'm done with Expendables, finally. So, on Friday, I'm going to have my review on Saw X, and then probably following that video, and I realize the last day of this month is Saturday, but I'm going to go ahead and film my movies I watched in September a day early, so I can have that out for you guys on Saturday. And maybe Monday, which will be like October 2nd, I'm going to start spooky season. So, lots of ideas coming. Stay tuned for that. And, yeah. My first video for sure in that series is going to be ranking all 10 Saw movies. And then I'm going to do my October TBR and horror recommendations, popular horror I want to read, an Exorcist movie review, an Exorcist Believer movie review, and I'm also going to do a special series once per week in October. I'm going to read you guys some Edgar Allan Poe on the channel. So, the first story I am going to read throughout next weekend, or throughout next week, is going to be The Raven. So, I thought that would be a really fun, easy video to do. Just laid back. You guys get the hang with me and enjoy my reading of the popular horror poem. I really can't wait to make that video. So, look forward to October, just around the corner. And other than that, that's all I got for tonight. I'll see you guys Friday for Saw X and the movies I watched in September. Adios. Peace.